Welcome to Pre-Algebra review, Summer Review number 8, Multiplying Fractions. Multiplying fractions is easy, so we've just had to spend all this time worrying about like denominators for our addition and subtraction, and now we can forget that when we're talking about multiplying, because all we have to do is multiply the numerator straight across, then multiply the denominator straight across, then simplify. So I think multiplying is a lot easier. So if we take a look at the first one, we're going to take 1/2 times 2/3. We're going to multiply the numerators. Remember, those are the top numbers, so 1 times 2 is 2. We'll multiply the denominators. 2 times 3 is 6, and we get 2/6. But we can see they're both even numbers, and both being even numbers, we know that we can simplify that to 1/3. Now remember, if you aren't familiar with simplifying, one way that you can do it if you aren't sure what to divide by is use your ladder. So we've got 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. Those are your prime numbers. And when you use the ladder method, you can go back in review number 6, I think is where we might have first used this to review it, or you can review it here quickly. So we take both of our numbers and we ask, are they divisible by 2? They are in this case, so we take 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now I know that you can't divide these by anything else because you have a 1 here, so you know it's finished. So our GCF is 2, and that's what we want to divide by. We want to divide 2/6 by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and that's how we got 1/3. You can use any other method you want to simplify, but that's one that I use. All right, number 2, we have 1/8 times 5. So this time we're multiplying a fraction by a whole number. In order to multiply by a whole number, we need to change that whole number to a fraction. To change a whole number to a fraction, you just put it over 1. So we have 1/8 times 5 over 1 equals 1 times 5 is 5, 8 times 1 is 8. These are already in simplest form. You can't simplify, so that's as far as it goes. Let's take a look at the examples at the bottom. We have 1/8 times 4 over 5. So we're going to multiply our numerators. 1 times 4 is 4. Multiply your denominators. 8 times 5 is 40. And then we need to simplify. If you know that you can divide by 4, that's great. We can go ahead and divide it by the GCF, which is 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 40 divided by 4 is 10. And that's your answer. But if you have problems coming up with that GCF, let's use our ladder. We've got 4 and 40. So we've got our numerator and our denominator. Okay? So we'll go up to our list, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. We'll start with 2. Are they both divisible by 2? Yes, because they're even. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 40 divided by 2 is 20. They're both still even, so they'll both still divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Now, if you remember back from lesson 2 or lesson 6, there's 2 ways I can do this. I can take these 2 and multiply them together. 2 times 2 equals 4. There's my GCF. Do the division work and get 1/10, or I can look and go, here's my numerator, here's my denominator, 1 over 10. Now, it's totally up to you if you want to show the division to get 1/10. If you want to say, all right, here's the bottom line, here's my numerator, here's my denominator. So if you've done your work correctly, that's how you would simplify that fraction. Let's take a look at number 4 down at the bottom. We have 3/10 times 2/3. Now remember, sometimes when we're multiplying in pre-algebra, we're going to use a dot. Sometimes we're going to have parentheses, and that's either way, they both mean multiplication. So we're going to multiply our numerators. 3 times 2 is 6. 10 times 3 is 30. And now we need to find the GCF. So let's use our ladder method on this one. This one's not as obvious, although I know what it is and some of you do. Sorry, we need to do our numerator first, so 6, and then our denominator. We'll look at our list at the top of our paper. They're both divisible by 2, so let's go ahead and divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 30 divided by 2 is 15. Now we look at our list again. Are those both divisible by 2? No, they're both odd numbers, so that won't work. So go to the next number. Are they both divisible by 3? Yes. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So one of two ways. Take that 2 times 3 equals 6. We can divide 6 divided by 6 is 1. 30 divided by 6 is 5. Or take a look at what we've got. Here's your numerator. Here's your denominator. 1 over 5. Doesn't matter which way you do it, but you should be able to simplify that fraction one of those ways. So let's go ahead and turn the page. For the homework, if you're still having problems multiplying fractions, if you'll just email me, I can give you some extra sites to look at or some extra help on that. You have 6 problems. Remember that you need to simplify your fractions. You can use the space at the bottom for workspace if you run out of space in here. And when you get those finished, those will be due in August, and you can move to the next lesson.